If you guys are thinking that something's going to get fixed in this video, well, you can turn it off now because it's not. But what we are going to do is we're going to tear down an RCA small wonder camera. And I say it's not being repaired because it's beyond repair. Trust me on this one. You'll see why. You'll see why. Everything is wrong with it. It doesn't do anything. The camera doesn't work. The viewfinder doesn't work. It doesn't play tapes. It doesn't do anything. So this one's scrap, but we're going to tear it down completely and show you guys what's inside. What I have on the workbench today, and this is something that was given to me, but I didn't get the adapter. They gave me a battery with it, and the AV cord, but they didn't give me anything else with it. This is a piece of crap RCA small wonder VHSc camera. It's no good. It's no good. I'll show you the picture off the camera. I know the camera doesn't work because I already looked at it when it was brought over. I just digitized this client's tapes for them, and several other tapes I had no color because the camera broke down while they were still filming with it and didn't know that it wasn't working and continued to film, and well, they got there. See, that's what we got off the tape. Yeah, we got a beautiful picture, and yeah, this is how many of their tapes, including their trip to Hawaii, came out. Well, actually, it wasn't that bad. It was bad, but it wasn't quite that bad. We had a picture. I got no picture now at all. I shine a flashlight into the lens and probably not see anything. Yeah, shine a flashlight into the lens, nothing. But on their tapes, on a couple of their tapes, including their once in a lifetime big family vacation to Hawaii, they got a bunch of squiggles down the picture. They got a black and white picture with the color with the burst in the frame and a bunch of striped lines. And needless to say, I didn't even tell her that, and I wasn't here when she picked up her tapes. I meant to tell her that one of the recordings, well, a couple of tapes, I couldn't even get anything off of it because it wasn't recording a control track either. But the picture was like that for about 20 minutes on a 20-minute tape. I don't know how someone would not notice in the viewfinder that things weren't working, because I believe the viewfinder kind of had a bad image on it too. I guess because it was a black and white viewfinder, it didn't really show as bad. I mean, this doesn't have a picture now at all. But yeah, I see like a very distorted image on here, but no picture. But similar to that. But I guess they were making the recording because the black and white viewfinder, they had a picture in black and white, and they figured, okay, it must be recording, but it wasn't, and it was also not recording a control track, which meant that I wasn't able to play it back, because without a control track, well, the speed on the playback machine kept going between SP and EP. Anyway, and the client actually came over with this, asking if I knew what might be wrong with it, because she couldn't get a picture on viewfinder. They wanted to continue using this thing, and I said, yeah, this thing is junk. Throw it out. And they said, well, you want to take it off my hands? I said, sure. I'll tear it down. We'll go through this thing. Am I going to fix it? Probably not. But I want to see what went wrong with it, and I'm sure you guys want to see the inside of this thing too. So this is more of a teardown, and if I can replace a capacitor or two and make the thing actually work, I will do it. I will do it, because we want to learn what went wrong with this thing. Now, to get this apart, I got to pop this. This, I believe, is a Hitachi made. We pop that off, and pull that off. I don't even know if I got to take those screws out. I forget. Some of these you can just pop them off, others you got to take the screws out. I think this one I got to remove these screws to remove this cover. Now, when I was in the service business, we didn't do much VHSc service, because the vast majority of the sales that we had were 8mm. But for those keeping track, this one's from 1993. And for VHSc mechanisms, this one might be a little easier to see than some. I know some of the ones that Panasonic had were just covered in, like you couldn't see anything. So first things first, we're going to remove this, the cover, and get the camera stripped apart. It's probably been since about 1994, 1995 since I actually opened one of these up. So we saw very, very few of them, and because they didn't sell, at least not here. I don't know how the VHSc market was in the States or in other countries, but here in Canada, where I am, VHSc did not do well. Like when I'm digitizing tapes, maybe 1 out of every dozen orders is VHSc. This particular order was VHSc, but the vast majority are 8mm high 8 and digital 8. Not so much digital 8 because again that was near the end of the tape era. Mini DV. I see a fair number of mini DV tapes to digitize. VHSc was a format that was never really that popular. SVHSc even less popular. That's one screw that's not going back. So if this thing is fixable, I will be selling it. If not, I'll be throwing it out. Or more than likely throwing it in a box to never be looked at again. Notice that I'm still optimistic at this point that this thing might be savable. Yeah, that was kind of short-lived. Once I tried to play a tape on it and found that it wouldn't play either. Got all the screws that have to come out on this thing to open it up. I know there's a lot of them. It ain't no Sony, that's for sure. Like all the other companies' cameras, they were all a dog's breakfast. Like there's 3 more screws down here, but one of them or 2 of them might hold the viewfinder, so I don't know which ones have to come out to open the chassis up. Probably got to take them all out. And of course it's a combination of screws into metal and screws into plastic. Okay, I think it'll pop apart. Might pop apart now. Am I missing more screws? I'm probably still missing. There we go. That part comes off. And then I can unplug this. And then I can unplug the viewfinder. What's next on this piece of junk? This piece the nose cone should come off. I think I have the screws out for this. Oh, wait a minute, one more. There's always that one extra screw, right? It should pop off. Is it latched in? It might be latched in here. There we go. There's a catch right there. And it should lift off. Should. It should lift off, but it's stuck. What the hell is sticking it? Is there another catch here? I think there's probably another catch. Oh, that has to come off. That might be why it's not opening up. This should pop off now. Come on, damn it. Lift it off there. There we go. That piece is off. We can unplug the microphone, which is plugged in way back here, or we can just leave it hang. This side piece should lift off now. Something tells me there's hidden catches. I'm sure that battery is gone. Guaranteed. That battery is toast. There it goes. Okay, now I can unplug Mr. Microphone from the front. Get that out of here. All right, okay. There's the guts. Look at all those caps that'll be shot on the camera board, and they were shot years ago because the people tried to use this thing when they went to Hawaii in 2005, and it didn't work then. It had a picture then, it just didn't have color. It had stripes in the picture, but it doesn't have that now. What I don't know is if it plays the tape back. Now, I can certainly test it for playback because I do have a tape. So I could take this and pop this into my VHS machine and make a recording on here and play it back and see if this thing will play back. Maybe I'll do that. I'll just record something, color bars or something, onto this VHS tape, mini VHS tape, and we'll see whether the playback circuit works in here first. And if the VCR portion works, then we'll look at the camera. All right, I got a VHSc tape that's got something recorded on it that I can try to play back. And we'll just plug in that, turn it on. And we can see, well, the picture from the camera sucks, but I'm going to put this into playback mode. And we'll open it up. You guys can see the mechanism on this. Little subcompact 4-head VHS drum. 4-head because of how it records. It records, it's instead of it being a 180 degree wrap, it's 270. It's an extra 90 degrees. So basically the tape is wrapped around much more of the drum than a regular VHS. So one head starts here and ends up 270 degrees away, and then the next head is 90 degrees ahead. So instead of it switching from one side of the drum to the other, it steps ahead 90 degrees. So you got an A and a B and an A and a B, basically. And the A field completes, and then the B field, which is 90 degrees ahead, is ready to do its cycle. And then the second A head is ready to do its cycle, etc., etc. That was how they did it. And by comparison, Sony with the Beta Movie, well, a Beta Movie drum, even a reduced drum like this, would be bigger than this because the head drum was bigger. Sony's Beta Movie drum was about this size, but they did a almost 360 degree wrap with two heads side by side. But because of that, the way that they did it, it was not compatible with playback. So those cameras only recorded. You needed an external player to play it. Okay, I close this down, and of course we're not going to see much because the little the flap on the tape is going to be in the way. I wonder if I could probably remove that, but let's see whether it will, whether it'll work. So let's thread the tape up, and all I care about is this going to play a picture, or is it not? And I don't see a picture. I see snow, and I know that the tape has been recorded, as I just recorded it. So this has problems in the VCR portion as well. I don't think it's dirty heads. Is there any sound? I don't think I've got the sound hooked up on this thing, so we won't hear any sound. There should be music on here. I'll just turn it up and see if we hear any sound. Probably not. Yeah, I don't hear any sound. If you listen closely, you can hear the drum motor surging as it's not syncing up. The servo is shot. Yeah, so this thing's got no sound, and it's got no picture. I can hear the drum servo just hunting. So we got major capacitor problems on this unit, which is why I told them throw it out. And I'm probably going to do the same thing. If I can remove this or not, I think I can, but it's going to show you guys how it threaded, but maybe we can make it thread without wrecking a cassette. And these threaded, a button got pressed in here somewhere that told it that there was a tape in it. There's how the mechanism threads. Of course it knows there's no tape. I press a little button down here. What's stopping it? Well, I think there's an optical sensor that's stopping it. There's a, if I'm not mistaken, there's an optical sensor in here for when the tape gets to the end. And if it doesn't see the tape block that sensor when it starts to thread, it will not thread. So unfortunately on this one, I'm not going to go any further on this. This is not worth repairing. It wasn't even worth taking it down to this other than to show you guys what's inside it. You got one of these cameras, throw it out. Don't even think about fixing it. Because look at all the caps, all the craps on here. I'll pull the board so you guys can see the craps, because they're all going to be bad. Like, there's not going to be one good cap in this thing.
And that is because they were all defective at time of manufacture. Every one of them.
They're probably Panasonic caps. Because I think Panasonic made a lot of these surface-mounted garbage caps that everybody used. Let's just come apart. It should lift off here. I guess I can pull the mechanism on this. We can slide this whole thing apart. I think it'll slide out of here. There. It comes out like that. Take that out. So there's the mechanism. If you want to see how it loads, I can load it just so you guys can see what way the guides load and how they lock into place. Because it's a little different than a conventional VHS, but oop, wrong way. It's this way. Okay, so if we apply power, you'll see the way that the guides load on here. So the tape is pulled out, and it's pulled out by this guide here. This is the back tension guide. The tape comes around here. This is, I believe, an optical sensor right here. It's got two wires on there. That's an optical sensor. And somewhere on here there's an LED light source that shines. I think it's right down here. It shines a light beam up here to detect the clear leader at the end. Tape comes around here, comes around to this, over this guide here, around this roller. So tape pulls around here, around this roller, enters the drum here, exits the drum over here, around this guide roller, around this guide pin, back over around this one. One of them's movable, and then over the erase or the audio head. See, this is the one that moves here. So the tape is pulled in behind, over this guide, over the front of this guide, where it passes over the audio control head, and then over this guide, and then through the pinch roller, and back into the cassette. And it's turned, the take-up hub is turned by this gear here, which turns this little gear on the side. So when the capstan motor turns one way, it will drive the take-up side, and if it goes the other way, it'll drive the supply side. I didn't even see an erase head on here, you know that? There's no full erase head. Does this have flying erase? I don't think it does. Maybe it does. Yeah, I guess it's got flying erase heads. Yeah, it's got a flying erase head. You can see it. That's the flying erase head there. So that's the first head, second head, third head, and fourth head, and then the flying erase is the next one over. You can see them here if I tilt it this way. So that's your flying erase there. And that's the first head. The second head is actually this one over here. That's the second one over here. And then the third one over here, and then the fourth one. The first head starts at scan right here. So if this is the flying erase. This one here is the flying erase. That one. So this is the first head here. This is number 1. That one starts at scan. And then when it finishes at scan over here, the next head in place is this one here, which is 2. And then when 2 gets over to here, the next head in place is 3. And then so forth. When this one gets over to here, the last one is 4. Those are the 4 heads.
The drum speed for the compact drums, 2700 RPM versus 1800 RPM on a regular VHS.
Normally a VHS takes 1 full rotation to do 1 frame. In this case, it actually takes
1 3/4 turns for 1 frame of video
because of the way that the heads are laid out. Anyway, this has got a problem with the sound as well and the control track, because the tapes I were recovering, one of them didn't have any sound or was all muffled, and the other one there was no control track. So it has its share of issues. Unplug this. I'm going to pop this board out just to show you guys all the caps that are bad on this thing. Because it's got lots. Someone's going to say, it doesn't have that many. You should just change them all and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just change all the caps and it'll work fine.
You guys know who you are, right? No need to name names here.
You got to remember that this camera is worth nothing, right? A working camera like this, you might get $50 for, if that. Unless you sell it on eBay, and then, well, some idiot would pay more than that because he doesn't know what it's really worth. But it's not worth anything. I know there's another screw down here that I got to take out, so let me just unwrap the heads. I believe there's a screw down here that holds the board in place.
I'm leaving this part in just so you guys know what screws have to come out if you decide you want to tear one of these down, or if you want to be one of these guys that's going to replace all the caps. Well, we're going to show you where they all are and how to get in there to do it.
And then there's another one over here. If any of you guys watching this want this camera, you can have it. Just pay the shipping. You can have it in pieces. I don't think anybody wants it. How many caps are in this thing? Let's count them. 47 on this side of the board. 48, 49, 50. These ones also could be bad. They're Sanyo, but there's 50 on this board. $72. $73, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 80. 81, 82, 3, 4, 5, 6, 87 caps. And you know that they're all going to be bad because, well, that's what they all were of this era. So it is not worth repairing this thing. It is not going to get repaired. In fact, it's probably not even going to go back together. But I figured I would take this apart, do a teardown so you guys can see what is in one of these little pieces of shit VHSc. Excuse my French, but I'm one of the guys of the opinion that this should have never ever existed on the market. We had 8mm. 8mm was a good format. We didn't need this crap. Just overly complex. All this crap crammed into a very small chassis like this. These cameras were a joke. It was VHS. The only the fame that they had was, oh, you could put the tape into an adapter and play it on your VCR, but you ended up with the crap quality, VHS quality, which was terrible. 8mm and high 8 had a much better picture. Better picture, better sound. Everything was better about 8mm. And you got 2 hours on a tape versus 20 minutes or 30 minutes when they came out with the longer tape. So, no, I was never a fan of VHSc. Plus, these things were just a nightmare to take apart to work on. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at this. And I don't even think this thing is going to go back together. Maybe I'll stuff it back together just so I can send it off to the recycling center. But, yeah, there it is. RCA Small Wonder, made by Hitachi. I'm pretty sure this one was made by Hitachi. It could have been Panasonic, but I'm pretty sure it was Hitachi. Most of the RCA stuff was. RCA kind of switched back and forth between Panasonic and Hitachi for their manufacture, so perhaps this was a Matsushita. I'm just looking to see if there's any markings on here. I'm looking at the board, right, to see if I can see any branding on the board that might shed light onto who actually made it. Well, could have even been a JVC for that matter. Like this might have been made by JVC for RCA because the head drum says JVC on it. So this may be a JVC camera. The head drum's definitely JVC, that for sure. But this whole mechanism might be JVC. Yeah, I think it probably is. It got all these ICPs in here. You know, the ICP N20s and stuff. That was a trademark of JVC. They used lots of these ICPs for their circuit protectors. Other companies like Sony use little fuses. This one's full of ICPs. These are Sanyo, these caps. These look like the ones that Sony used in their beta machines that all had to be replaced. The SL5000 series used a bunch of these solid. These are not electrolytics, they're solid. They're like a tantalum cap. And they're all bad on the betas back in the 80s. We had to change every single one of them out on the SL5000, 5100. 5010, 5020, etc. Every single one of them. That was my job when I was at Sony, was changing out like 47 caps like this on the servo board and putting in tantalums in place of them. And those were machines that hadn't even been sold yet. They were just rebuilding them all as they were coming out of off the shipping container. Anyway, I'm going to end this one now. There's nothing really more to see on this other than it's garbage and it's going to go in the garbage. I don't even think the viewfinder is worth keeping the little tube. It might work, might not, but I don't even know if it's worth. I mean, I've kept these little tubes before because I think they're kind of cool. Make a little monitor out of it. But anyway, I think that I've done everything I'm going to do on this. I've proved that everything on this is shot. All the caps are bad. This one's garbage. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.